End of Act 4. This is my final entry. My co-players and I have made every earnest attempt, with occasional relapse, to play this game the right way. I have been meticulous in documenting the process to help our peers and successors through the trials should we fail. In my hubris, I believed these classes were relegated to the earthbound, but in even this quaint supposition I was in error. Our otherworldly antagonists have assured us of our inevitable failure repeatedly, while the gods whisper corroboration in my sleep. I believe them now. I just blew up my first gate. I'm not sure why I did it, really. I'm not playing by the rules anymore. I will fly around this candy-coated rock and comb the white sand until I find answers. No one can tell me our fate can't be repaired. We've come too far. I jumped out of the way of a burning fucking tree, for God's sake. I have used a spell to rip this walkthrough from Earth's decaying network, and sealed it in one of the servers floating in the furthest ring. The gods may disperse the signal throughout the cosmos as they wish. Perhaps it will be of use to past or future species who, like us, have been ensnared by Skya's malevolent tendrils. In case it wasn't clear, magic is real. Pardon my egress, but you're on your own now. Rose Lalonde. Oh no. Oh yeah. Hours in the future. The war-weary calls another broken planet home. Another cloth his garb, land and rags fit for the wayward. A villain becomes a vagabond. The recent past is recalled. An accursed mascot is located among fallen brethren, its visage reviled. A rag of souls drifts from the heavens, its owner a mystery. Oh. A boy finds a dead friend. Her ring recovered. The boy sees himself in a cloud, his destination revealed. Hours in the future. A mistress becomes a mendicant. The recent past is recalled. Holy shit! A communication device is borrowed. A rendezvous arranged. The Slayer is summoned. The collateral presented. Snap. The drawl is beckoned. The bargain honored. The boy finds the castle. His courier's path crossed. The mail is delivered. An obligation satisfied. The package is opened, with letters read. John, from what I hear tell, you've been through a bit of an adventure by the time you're reading this. That's so great. I love adventure, and I would bet my bottom boonbuck you do too. I think we're birds of a feather, John. I'm pretty eager to meet you. Oh, yeah, I should have mentioned we're going to meet someday. I hear you like movies, is that right, John? I love movies too. You ever seen Weekend at Bernie's? So friggin' hilarious. It's hard to talk to Jade about movies because she doesn't really know about movies, but I'm sure you know that. Boring. Ha ha. Just kidding. Jade, you know I love you. I think you're a blast. Okay, speaking of Jade, we spent quite a lot of time working on this present for you. It was a big team effort. Okay, I had to do quite a lot of arm twisting to get her to go along with helping me make it, but as such an oddball present for you, and so well in advance, but I had my arm sort of twisted myself to get this going in the first place. But then she came around to the idea because she can see the future. Pretty amazing if you ask me. It'll all be clear later. Gadzooks, with all this arm twisting, I've been getting a good workout. We should wrestle when we meet, John. I love to wrestle, but I don't get a chance to wrestle with anyone that much. Do you like to get into fisticuffs, John? Scrums and whatnot? Heh, me too. Anyway, you should listen to Jade from here on out, John, because she sure seems to know what's best for you. Whatever your adventure throws at you, I'm sure she'll tell you you can handle it. She believes in you. There's another page to the letter. Oh, kicking Christ in the dirty diaper. I almost forgot to mention what's in this box. Sorry, this shit's so small. I mean, obviously it's small. Contents. Royal Derringer, Quills of Echidna, Ahab's Crosshairs, and the Warhammer of Zillihu. There's another letter from a different author. Dear John, happy birthday! Even though it's super late and you probably went through a lot of trouble to get it, I really hope this present cheers you up. You looked so sad while you were reading my letter. Which is to say, the one you're reading now. I can explain. You see, when I go to sleep, in my dreams, I wake up on the moon of a planet called Prospet. By now, you must know about this place. I have lived there in my dreams most of my life, and I made so many friends there over the years. And you were there too, but you were always asleep. The fact that you are awake now, I think, means all my friends are in trouble. You are awake because it is your job to help them. We will both help them. But, I know these things because while I was on the moon, whenever I passed through the clouds and passed through Skya, I could see lots of things in the clouds. The past, the future, stuff about our friends, and stuff about you. Now that you are awake, and apparently at the center of Skya, wow! You should be able to see stuff in the clouds too. Maybe you already have. About this present, my pen pal helped me work on it. He included a letter too. He's really funny and silly. I like him a lot, and I think you would too. It took a long time between the two of us, and sure, the present looks like fun and completely ridiculous thing to get, but it is also really important. You're getting it exactly when you need it most. Maybe that's hard to believe, but it's true. I saw it happen already. I don't see everything, John, and I definitely don't know everything that's going to happen. But when I do know something, I always try to do my best to help people in the future. When I'm supposed to, that is. You'll get the hang of it. John, I'm really looking forward to seeing you when you wake up. It's been nice playing with my Prospedian friends and all, but also kind of lonely knowing you were in the other tower sleeping and having lousy dreams. I'm not sure where I am when you are reading this, but I'm sure I'll make it down to where you are soon. Geez, how did you get down there? Oh well, I'll find out. I can't wait to fly around the moon with you and show you all my favorite places. It'll be so much fun. Heart, Jade. Oof. Regret is a gift. Oh no. A boy's grief is interrupted. His ring sought. Not today. The toy has taken a new master. The tactician, a misstep. Jesus Christ. Check. Hours in the future. A regulator becomes a renegade. The recent past is recalled. A temple is fled and soon revisited. A nearby laboratory is also revisited, its satellites dispatched. A sleeping boy is found, rumbling, ominous. The lab is in flight, its exits inoperative. Another public servant makes a sacrifice. A citizen's safety is secured. A tyrant is retreating. A battleship landing. Jade Harley. A grandfather mourns. A family tradition honored. A queen mourns. A kingdom bid farewell. Hours in the future. Her journey through the windswept must be walked alone. Her entourage bid farewell. A queen becomes a questant. And then years. 2 meteor shards. The spirograph key. A key is employed. A command station repaired. Let's translate what Serenity is saying here. Oh my! The ring of orbs fourfold, fully embodied. 3 orbs. There's another cloud. And inside, a dark laboratory, unused for years. And inside, a 4th wall, pilfered from a bureaucrat's office and absconded with years ago. It isn't turned on, but if it was, this is almost certainly what we would see. Recap 2. Picking up from where we left off, I typed a really long recap, and then some other stuff happened. Gallows Calibrator helped John fly to the second gate, which took him to Rose's world, land of light and rain. He crashed into Rose's room, where he found her asleep. He snooped through her room, and Dave tricked him into giving him the code to duplicate Rose's writing journals. John opened the package Rose made for his birthday. It contained the bunny from Con Air, the same one John got from Dave, but older and dirtier, and modified with Rose's knitting. She'd had the bunny since she was very young. John leaves Casey the Salamander, Bubbles Viceroy von Salamancer, in the room. He briefly speaks with Grim Auxiliatrix from Rose's computer and pretends to be Rose. She believes he is, triggering a convoluted series of conversations between her and the real Rose, in both the past and the future, in no particular order. Grim Auxiliatrix gets help with her computer from Twin Armageddons, in time to see Rose at her computer having woken up. Before she woke up, Dream Rose was awake on Dursa's moon. She now had memories from her future self's Doom alternate reality. She flew to Dream Dave's tower and got his attention with a ball of yarn, causing real Dave to fall asleep. They had a dream dance party. Dream Rose threw Dream Cal out the window. Bro's rocket board caught Dream Cal. Authority Regulator followed the board and Cal to a transportalizer on Durse, which led to a meteor lab in the Veil. Meanwhile, on the land of light and rain, Rose's mom defeated a huge monster. The pony, Maplehoof, followed her and collected the grist Windfall. Both mom and the pony then transported to the meteor lab. John's dad found a clean hat John had deposited into a parcel Pixis. Dad followed Jade's grandpa, who was carrying John's Sassacre book into some ruins. They both transported to the meteor lab, too. Meanwhile, John used the grist collected by the pony to make a normal-sized version of a giant hammer. Fear No Anvil, which Dave Sprite gave him the code for. Dream Rose saw John on Dream Dave's computer and woke up. She went out to see him, but he had already blasted off. He took the mutant kitten, Vodka Mutini, who he renamed Dr. Meowgum Spengler, with him. John found the ruins that Mom and Pony went into. He went in and killed some powerful monsters with his new hammer. He transported to the meteor lab as well. In the lab, he found no one, except the pony. Some other stray items were also littered about. Dad's dirty hat, the Sassacre book, Dream Cal. He found some apparatuses used to genetically engineer foot soldiers and agents for the white and black armies from chess piece DNA. He also found a junior ectobiologist lab suit and a series of terminals, much like those exiles would find in the far future. He would use this apparatus to create paradox clones of himself, his friends, and their guardians. Meanwhile, Authority Regulator surfed Bro's rocket board to a different meteor containing a frog temple that would later root itself near Jade's island. Pardon me. Authority Regulator surfed Bro's sick nasty rocket board. Inside, he found the same time capsule she would find later. He also found some more lab equipment used for ectobiology. This equipment would soon be used to create Becquerel, a mutated combination of the genes from an ordinary dog in the early 20th century and the DNA code in one of Rose's journals. Authority Regulator hides in the lab when he hears one of Jack's henchmen, the Draconian Dignitary. Draconian Dignitary is carrying Rose's duplicated journals which he stole from Dave, and Dave's beta which was used as a bookmark. He discards the beta into the time capsule. Millions of years later, from the capsule's perspective, Jade would retrieve that beta and use it to connect with Dave, allowing him to enter the medium. Dave created the journal duplicates after an extensive alchemy binge. Rose, too, had a similar alchemy session, and both kids upgraded their weapons and gear. Rose made a pair of needle wands crossed with her grimoire and took up the art of dark magic. She used this magic to burn her journal, thus destroying the genetic code. She was advised to do so by the gods of the Furthest Ring, whom she was now able to communicate with in her dreams. The gods live far beyond the Veil, and advise the children of the Moon of Durse, and serve as the counterpart to the role Skya plays for the children of Prospit's Moon. They deemed the code, which would inevitably be used to create Becquerel, to be very dangerous. Dave decided to destroy his copy too. But when he went back to his room, he discovered they were stolen. He also found his own dead body, which apparently was him from the very near future attempting to go back in time to stop the thief, Draconian Dignitary. Dave decided not to attempt any more time travel and disposed of the body. Gallows Calibrator discussed the matter with him and pledged to help him by telling him his future along the way, so that he would not have to face the death of more future selves, or suffer the sort of embarrassment he went through while entering the medium. Previously unseen, the way Dave entered the medium was as follows. As the large meteor was bearing down on his city, Dave climbed the radio tower on top of his building with his broken sword in hand to reach the nest built by the crow sprite. The sprite guarded the egg, which, unknown to Dave, simply needed time to hatch before he could enter. The sprite pecked his head and he fell. He was saved by Bro's rocket board. Meanwhile, Bro was on top of the meteor, riding it as it descended. He used his sword to chop it in half, splitting it into 2 pieces, diverting the initial impact from their building to 2 separate impact sites. He thus bought a little more time for the egg to hatch, which it did, just before their location was consumed by the blasts. On Prospit's moon, Parcel Mistress prepared to depart for the battlefield at the center of Skya to seek the king's counsel on what to do with the queen's ring. She was tailed by another of Noir's lackeys, the Courtyard Droll. Courtyard Droll picked her pocket and stole the ring. Parcel Mistress departed via shuttle to Skya. Dream Jade then clobbered Courtyard Droll and recovered the ring. She tried it on, but its power has no effect on humans. Later, Courtyard Droll would travel to the battlefield and continue tailing Parcel Mistress. The battlefield is a planet at the center of Skya. It undergoes a transformation with each player that enters the medium, and each new prototype kernel introduced. It starts as a simple 3x3 chessboard with 2 kings in perpetual stalemate, and expands to a larger board and more exotic collection of pieces with the first player entering. Then, it becomes a much larger cube with the second player, and then an even larger sphere, with oceans, trees, mountains, and pastures with the third. It presumably will transform again with the fourth. The armies of the Black and White Kingdoms duel there. Soldiers are airlifted from meteor facilities in the Veil to supply the manpower. Enormous mutant chest-like monsters stalk the landscape. The 2 kings command their armies from the field. They each have a scepter that serves a similar purpose to the queen's rings. When activated, a scepter causes a king to be a giant and bear the properties of all the prototypings. A king is able to deactivate a scepter, to hand it off to another so that they will not be affected in that way. When the Black King captures the White King's scepter, the Reckoning begins. The Reckoning sends all meteors in the Veil towards Skya, in stages, first the small ones, then gradually the bigger ones, over a 24-hour period. I think one thing that he forgot to mention, or just is not worth mentioning, but I think is important, is that the scepter has a view of the planet within Skya, so the kings can command the battlefield by literally seeing all of the moves that are happening at once. I imagine it only works when they're a giant, though, because the resolution, the scepter needs to be big to be able to see all the little things on it. There was a war-weary villain on the battlefield who was a simple farmer and was tired of the conflict. War-weary villain united a band of soldiers from both armies to lead a rebellion against the Black King. Before they could attack the king, Jack Noir, now empowered by the Black Queen's ring, intercepted the coup. He destroyed the king's scepter and killed the king. Jack then killed the entire rebelling army, sparing only war-weary villain, perhaps to leave a survivor to tell the tale, or perhaps out of respect for a fellow mutineer. Only he knows. Meanwhile, Parcel Mistress met with the White King. He disabled his scepter and gave it to her along with his crown. Parcel Mistress now had the crowns of the White King and Queen and the White Scepter, but discovered she had misplaced the White Queen's ring. Jack's muscle, the Hegemonic Brute, had been tailing the White King. Hegemonic Brute then followed Parcel Mistress and attacked her. She dropped the scepter off a cliff. She would regroup and chop off Hegemonic Brute's head with the Regis sword Jack gave her to kill the White Monarchs. Courtyard Droll, who had been tailing both of them, recovered the White Scepter and delivered it to Jack. Jack used it to initiate the Reckoning, and would proceed to go on a more extensive rampage, devastating the battlefield and Prospect. Back in the Meteor Lab, John began the ectobiology session, which appeared to have been prepared for him in advance by the Guardians who had just been there. The 4 monitors were all locked onto the kids' Guardians at certain points in time, each on the day of one of the kids' quote-unquote birth. On Jade's birthday, Nana was locked onto in John's neighborhood by the Betty Crocker factory. The meteor carrying baby Jade crashed into the factory and destroyed it. Her grandpa, the owner of that factory, would adopt her. John's dad witnessed and would spend years investigating this. On Dave's birthday, Grandpa was locked onto while he was on his yacht, pioneering the island for the first time. He was sailing with baby Jade. Overhead, there was the meteor carrying baby Dave, which would crash into Bro's favorite record store. On Rose's birthday, Bro was locked onto, and he stood over the crater where he would find baby Dave. He would give him a tiny pair of pointy shades. Overhead, there was a meteor carrying baby Rose, which would land in a lake and destroy it. Rose's mom would retrieve and adopt her. Months later, on John's birthday, Mom would bring Rose to John's neighbor neighborhood to investigate the destruction of Grandpa's factory and related stellar phenomena. The target was locked on her. Dad came out of the family joke shop to greet her, leaving Nana inside. The meteor carrying baby John destroyed the shop, killing Nana. Fuck. This is my second take of this, and I always fuck that up. I feel like that sentence is gonna go on like killing Nana, thus, no. Killing Nana. Done. Dad would adopt John, and Rose's mom disappeared. Dad retrieved her scarf and filed the clue away for his ongoing investigation. John attempted, unwittingly, to purify all 4 guardians, but since removing them from those moments would cause a paradox, he instead paradoxified their ghost slime imprints. The slime was collected into 2 pairs of containers. One pair collected Nana and Grandpa's slime. Grandpa typo. The other pair collected Mom and Bro's. The device then created baby Paradox clones of the 4 Guardians. These babies would then later be sent back in time to become those Guardians themselves. Once those 4 clones were created, another sequence activated. The 2 pairs of slime tubes emptied into vats below. The Nana-Grandpa slime mixed together, and separately, the Mom-Bro slime mixed together as well. An additional 4 Paradox clones were created from those 2 slime concoctions. Baby John and Jade were created from the Nana-Grandpa slime. Baby Rose and Dave were created from the Mom-Bro slime. These 4 babies would also go back in time to become the 4 kids, via meteors, in the sequence and on the dates listed above. All 8 babies would each ride on their own meteors, launched from the Veil after Jack started the Reckoning, and into the defense portals deployed by Sky to protect itself. The defense portals each lead to Earth, as Sky defends itself, in a way, by sacrificing Earth. While most meteors are sent to the time periods when kids begin the game, many lead to a number of different time periods. Some 13 years prior to the game, used by the kids, some nearly a century prior, used by Nana and Grandpa, some millions of years later, used eventually by the Frog Temple meteor, and some of the far future, used by exiles. And all 8 of them would travel with an object or animal. John with his Sassacre book, which would become the much older-looking family heirloom stored in Dad's safe, with Nana Sprite's inscription to John on it. And that's like his investigation safe. Rose with the dirty bunny Dave gave John for his birthday, Dave with the pony Maple Hoof, Jade with the knit repaired bunny Rose gave John for his birthday, which Rose cherished since quote-unquote birth. Nana with Dad's dirty hat, Mom with Mutini, Meowgon, Grandpa with 2 flintlock pistols, which older Grandpa left behind for him in the lab, and which would eventually both wind up in Jade's room, and Bro with Dream Cow, which would later be fitted with a new personalized shirt, and would then become Real Cow, the same doll that would haunt Dave's waking life, and consequently, his dreams. All of these babies and their items would automatically be transported to their meteors on the onset of the Reckoning. John made absolutely sure to give Baby Rose and Jade their bunnies when he saw an opportunity to reenact a scene from one of his favorite movies, much to the dismay of the watching carcinogeneticist. While Authority Regulator was in the Frog Temple lab, he would see more of the young Nana and Grandpa's story. On 4/13/1910, exactly 99 years prior to John's birth, baby Nana's meteor destroyed a bakery owned by Betty Crocker. Nana was adopted by Crocker's husband, Colonel Sassacre, and taken to live in his mansion. 8 days later, Grandpa's meteor destroyed the doghouse belonging to Sassacre's dog, Hallie. Haley? Was it Hallie? Haley's Comet, I assume? Haley was elsewhere, and was unharmed. When Sassacre and Nana went to investigate the crater, Sassacre was shot and killed accidentally with one of Grandpa's pistols. Haley then showed up, who young Grandpa would tend to pronounce Harley, due to his speech impediment, and would largely serve as their guardian for the next 13 years, with presumably some parental influence from the wicked Crocker. On his 13th birthday, Grandpa would run off with Harley to find adventure. Nana would stay behind, contend with the Batter Witch, and master the art of baking, as well as taking up her deceased grandfather's tradition of pranksterism. Harley was locked onto by the Frog Temple's equipment. Draconian Dignitary activated the device and produced a Paradox clone of Harley, combined with the controversial Meow Code to create Puppy Beck. The spectacle terrified Authority Regulator, leaving a major impression on him. He would recognize Beck's silhouette carved on Wayward Vagabond's pumpkin years later. The pumpkin commanded his fear. That is what compelled him to surrender. It feels weird calling the Meow Code controversial, but I mean, a lot of people want to destroy it, so I guess it is. Meanwhile, the grown-up versions of Mom and Dad were on board a flying battleship belonging to Grandpa, who piloted it towards Skya. Dad gave Mom her long-discarded scarf from the day he lost his mother and found his son. The 2 guardians traded gestures of affection. Jade remained asleep through it all, trying to stay on the moon as long as she could until she figured out how to wake John up. She talked about this with Adios Toreador, who revealed he preferred his dream life on Prospect more than any aspect of the game, and regretted all of the troll's dream cells were now dead. Jade expressed surprise at the notion of dream self-mortality. After Jack used the full power of the ring to devastate the battlefield and the two armies, he turned his attention on Prospect, inflicting severe damage the same way. He then cut the chain connecting the moon to Prospect, sending the moon plummeting through the atmosphere of Skya, and breaking up in the process. Dream John, still asleep, fell out of his tower and drifted down ahead of the falling moon. Dream Jade flew to intercept him, and spent a moment attempting to wake him before the moon's collision was imminent. At the last minute, she flung Dream John out of the blast radius, but was not able to clear the blast herself. She perished. The blast left a massive crater on the battlefield. This was the first thing Dream John saw when he woke up. The death of Dream Jade caused her dreambot to malfunction and explode, destroying her bedroom. Still asleep, Jade fell from her tower as Beck watched from a distance, and an enormous meteor loomed overhead. Elsewhere, on Dave's world of Lohak, land of heat and clockwork, Bro dueled with Jack briefly. It was a stalemate, until Bro plunged his sword into the large floating record platform they were fighting on. This released a mysterious energy from the cracks. Bro absconded. Rose completed her final game facts walkthrough entry and used magic to seal it in a server in the furthest ring, to be accessed by players in worlds beyond their own. She had destroyed her first gate on a whim and resolved to search for answers to remedy the hopelessness of their doomed session. Meanwhile, Dave entered his first gate, riding into it with his awesome skateboard, Unreal Air. The four exiles arrived on Earth years after its apocalypse, but years before they found their respective command stations. Wayward Vagabond wrapped himself in John's dream blanket, which became dirty and unrecognizable over time. He found it along with a Jack-like doll on the battlefield, which formerly sat in Dream John's bedroom, haunting his dreams. I feel like this should be War-Weary Villain, because he's still in the recent past, not the far future. War-Weary Villain ripped it apart. I guess technically she's on Earth when she puts it on. Peregrine Mendicant herself wrapped herself in a Prosperian banner, which too faded in time. Aimless Renegade wrapped himself in caution tape, using his own supply, as well as some fresh rolls he was lucky enough to discover near the ruined Frog Temple in one of Grandpa's old crates. This was after he escaped the same temple in the Medium, and found the meteor lab in which John slept. That meteor then took off for Skya, via the Reckoning. An authority regulator taped John to the rocket board and cast him off before the meteor went through a portal. Thus, Aimless Renegade became exiled. White Queen exiled herself with an entourage on a royal cruiser and landed on Earth. She departed on a solo quest, leaving her people to their own devices. She discovered her command station, a large egg, broken in two pieces, in the two large craters made by Dave's split meteor. She used a key to repair the egg station, and teleported it to the present location of the exiles, the Frog Ruins, at night, 413 years after the apocalypse of Earth. On the battlefield, Dream John found Dream Jade's body. He was sad and confused, and took her ring as a keepsake. Later, Grandpa would land his ship on the battlefield, find and recover her body, and use it to create a stuffed trophy as a memorial, as per the Proud family tradition. He would depart in his ship and leave Mom and Dad behind. John saw a vision in a cloud directing him where to go. It was a castle where he would rendezvous with Parcel Mistress. Parcel Mistress, after beheading Hegemonic Brute, used his radio to summon Jack. He came, and she traded the 2 white crowns for the green box. Jade's present to John. He appeared pleased to uphold the bargain, either out of misunderstanding that he was still under control of its contents, or out of respect for Parcel Mistress's tenacity and brutality in pursuing the prize. Only he knows. Personally, I think Jack is just the kind of guy to honor a deal. Like, he sets the terms, and if you meet those terms, you get the prize. It doesn't matter. You followed the rules. Parcel Mistress delivered the package to John and then left, not thrilled by the trials caused by its recovery. John opened it to find letters from Jade and her pen pal, who helped her make the present for him over several years. The gift was the pen pal's idea, and he himself was coerced into the plan by someone else. The box contained a modified version of the stuffed bunny John had received for his birthday twice already, and it was the same knit-repaired bunny John sent back in time with baby Jade, and she presumably kept it as a cherished childhood toy ever since. It was now upgraded with mechanical parts, fully mobile and autonomous. It was also included with 4 powerful weapons. the Royal Derringer, a broken sword, the quills of Echidna, a set of wands, Ahab's crosshairs, a powerful rifle, and the Warhammer of Zillihu, a hammer. Each was shrunken down to be bunny-sized. As John mourned Jade's death over her letter, he was interrupted by Jack's sword. Jack was after the ring, but the heavily armed mechanical bunny intervened, recognizing John as its new master. Jack, knowing the danger of the toy, was forced to retreat. Finally, a cloud showed John what he was supposed to do with the ring. It was held by a mysterious black hand. In the far future on Earth, the exiles gathered around Exile Town. Windswept Questant asked Wayward Vagabond for something. Wayward Vagabond revealed that he had been storing the complete quad-prototyped ring in the sleeve of his trusty knife. It had been there all along, much to Serenity's surprise. And then I started working on Act 5. Act 5. Hold on. We have a musical sting for this one. Elsewhere in Paradox Space, we examine another planet, forgotten by time, but we will strive to remember. What was this planet's name? Ha ha, nice one, Smarty Pants. Really hilarious. But let's get real here. No more clowning around. Try again. That is much better. In fact, as it happens, your guess is precisely correct. What are the odds? We examine the planet Alternia. Somewhere on this planet, there is a young troll. Hifebend. This young troll stands in his respite block. It just so happens that today, the 12th bilunar perigee of the 6th Dark Seasons equinox, is the day of this young troll's larval awakening, also known as his wriggling day. Though it was 6 solar sweeps ago he was given life, it is only today he will be given a name. 6 Alternian sweeps, for convenient reference, is the equivalent of 13 Earth years. Earth, also for convenient reference, is a planet that does not exist yet. What will the name of this young troll be?